Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. It is Monday. It's the Monday mashup. Mark will be joining us shortly. Let me know, folks, if everything is okay. We've began using a different streaming service. So let me know if this looks okay on YouTube in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me fine and if everything is okay. I would really appreciate that. Got a good show for you tonight. We're going to go through the Premier League, obviously tough one for me. We'll be going through the League of Ireland as well, and we'll be also taking a look at the Champions League, and we will also be taking a look at the situation at Nottingham Forest and giving our thoughts on that. We'll also bring you right up to speed as well on what's happening at West Ham with Brentford. It's 1-0 to Brentford at the moment. Igor Thiago on a tear this season, playing really well for Keith Andrews there. Shadow with the assist on 43, and on 45 plus 7 they had a goal ruled out as well. Very lucky, just barely went offside. But other than that, it's as you were. 1-0 to Brentford. Seem in control there. Nuno with a lot to do there at West Ham. West Ham looking very, very, very dodgy at the moment. In the chat, Bren's in. All looks good. Nice. Appreciate that, Bren. Keith is in as well. What's the crack, pal? All good. The new streaming service looks good. It is look good. I just hope it behaves. So hopefully. And Warren is in as well. Big up, Warren. Hi, Mark. You sound and look good. Mark will be on shortly. Don't worry. And Baz is in. All good, bro. What's the crack? Absolutely. Love you, bro. And Keith back in again. I have a lot to say about Liverpool and I'm not happy. Good. Get it in there. Get it in there. I don't think anyone's happy at the moment. Also, if you get a chance, folks, check out the reaction I did today. I purposely stayed away from the reaction yesterday because I didn't want to lose the absolute rag. I wanted to be a little bit more concise in my analysis of what I think is the issues, but the reaction is up there. I think it's on 80-90 views at the moment, stuff like that, so get it out there. I think it's a fair reaction, but again, I think everything context is key in these things, you know. Big Phil is in. What's the story, Phil? Hope you're good. Hi, Niall. Are you still boarding over yesterday? I am, but you know what it is, Phil? Because I'm one of those more mature now. You wouldn't think it with this new streaming service. Makes me look really, really good, I have to say. But yeah, I tell you what it is. Yeah, it's. Do you know what? When you've been watching Liverpool as long as I have, I started following Liverpool, I think, in 1978. And I've seen highs and I've seen lows and I've seen ups and I've seen downs. And I think really the reaction that we're seeing at the moment is really a reaction, you know, from fans, self-serving, instant gratification fans who can't see the bigger picture and things and stuff like that and all, you know. And I just think, you know, things need fixing up. The players know that things need fixing up. They're better players than that. We know they're better players than that. And what we did is we got all excited about this huge spend in the summer, and rightly so, because we'd never experienced it. And what happens is it's just going to take a bit of time. And I think the narrative coming into this season was we're going to go out there and we're going to slap up teams 4-5-6-0. We're going to run away with the league and all this kind of thing. And we never believed that. We never, ever believe. Well, I never, ever believed that. And I never said it on streams. I said that this season would be way tougher than last season because I expected much more from Arsenal as a challenge. I think Chelsea much more as a challenge. And I knew Man City would bounce back. So that was my thinking on it. But yeah, it was a rough one yesterday. You know, it's never nice. And I think what happens is the reaction that you see in the fan base as well is that the fact that, like, it was Man United, so that magnifies it even more. They hadn't beaten us there in nearly a decade. We've let Amarin go back to back. And it just wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good performance, and the number of players just didn't show up. But yeah, just really, really frustrating, I have to say. But yeah, Warren, do you know what I'm using? I did originally use StreamYard, and I found this one called Restream, which is a fraction of the price basically to provide the streaming service, where you can do all the things like the logos and the backgrounds and the QR codes and all that kind of stuff. And I've only been working on it now about 2 or 3 days, so much more to come, folks. So keep an eye out and stuff like that. But we will be going out of it. So let us know your thoughts in the comments. Also, let us know. I'd love an outside opinion from you guys as well. What do you think is the issue at Liverpool? What do you guys think needs to be fixed up? Where do you think it's going wrong? Where do you think it's become unhinged? Because let's be honest, we can't have a conversation here, after 10 games to say, oh, Isaac is a failure, Verts is a failure, all this kind of stuff. What do you guys really think? If you were Arne Slot tonight and you're preparing for that Frankfurt game, what would you do? Yeah, you should check it out, Warren. And it's cheap as chips, to be honest, folks. Cheap as chips. And if you play around with it on the free system long enough, and then you'll get an email off them, and they give you 20% off the bill as well, which isn't too bad. I've seen some very unhinged reactions from Liverpool fans. It's Warren, it's insane. It's only more mature lads like myself and yourself, Warren, that has seen the bigger picture, that have tasted success. I mean, how many times how many times have I seen my team lose in much bigger matches and stuff like that and all? And look, this team will bounce back. This team will find a way. It always does. Slot will figure this out. There's no doubt about it. And we will bounce back. And all I hope is that we're not too out of the race or whatever it is, that we're not too far away and stuff like that. And if that's the case, it'll be absolutely fantastic. But we shall see what absolutely happens. Phil's in. Great streaming, by the way. Cheers, Phil. Appreciate that, bud. Yeah, I wasn't sure what way this is going to go. This is new to me as well. It's very, very like StreamYard, but it's just a little bit different because when I'm using the screen and I'm so used to StreamYard, things are in different positions and stuff like that, and I kind of have to go looking for them. But yeah, it looks cool. The feel of it is a lot more professional and stuff like that and all, because StreamYard is just so expensive if you want to get to this level. At least you're honest with your opinion over Liverpool as of late. Phil, if you go and look, do you know the funny thing about it? And I'd suggest people, if you go and look at the preview for the game and look at what I said, I turned around and I said, we're in a really bad moment at the moment. We're not playing very well. We're shot for confidence. A lot of the players didn't necessarily have a very good international break, and it was always going to be difficult. And on the flip side with United, I said United are coming into this in a real positive vein of form, and with a lot of positive information coming out of the club in relation to potentially a takeover or more investment, potentially to go ahead on the stadium, and also linked with players that potentially they might go in for in January and stuff like that. And when you see those things, then it's those things are important, because I find with those things, they manifest themselves then on the pitch. And, if you think about that game yesterday, and I know we're talking a lot about the game and it's not a Shankly Sessions, we will get into the other stuff, of course. I think if you look at the game yesterday, there was very little difference between that game and the game last season that we drew, except the difference is Maguire took his opportunity this time and didn't take his opportunity last year. That's the only difference. So we didn't really learn from it and stuff like that and all. And I just think, I was thinking about this over the weekend before the game even happened. And I said, if there was ever a situation where we've been coughing up records this season, the wrong records. Last season, we were making lots of new records. This season, we've been coughing them up for all the wrong reasons. And I was thinking, if ever United were going to come to Anfield and break that 10-year hoodoo, this might be the time to do it. And I also said, if there was ever a time where Amarin might go back to back, it would be just like Liverpool to cough it up. And that's basically what happened. We didn't take our chances. I know Slot after the game was talking about how we didn't take our chances and we didn't do this, that, and the other and all. But you balance that argument out, because United didn't take their chances either. And if you look at that game yesterday, United could have been 2 or 3-0 up, So it's just one of those where we have to figure it out, as they say. Are you using this stream for tomorrow's wrestling? I certainly am, Keith. I certainly am, and I have it all graphicked up really nice. And I have us in a nice wrestling arena or a wrestling stadium and all. Yeah, cheers, Phil. I really appreciate it. I love, the support you guys give to the channel and all does not go unnoticed. I really, really appreciate it and stuff like that and all, And it's unusual as well, because sometimes I'm here and, I can be talking to myself literally, you know what I mean? So it's just, and it's an interesting one, and I don't know if you've ever tried it. I mean, Warren would know, from Warren's been podcasting as long as myself now at this stage and stuff. And, it's an interesting narrative when you're talking to a laptop sometimes on your own and stuff, So sometimes it feels a bit maddening at times, Warren's in. Isaac is not ready for 90 minutes, in my opinion. Yeah, he still doesn't look fit. This was caused by the standoff at Newcastle over the transfer, and then this caused a multitude of issues across the whole park. It does. And Warren, I think that's the case. But I think what the issue is as well is I think Slot came out in the pre-match and said that he's had his pre-season. It's now time to go. And I think, he had one or two moments yesterday, the snapshot that he hit into the dirt, the keeper saved and smothered. And then the other one, the one-on-one where you would think, put that in the far corner all day. Bread and butter for a guy like Alexander Isak. And he's just struggling, I mean. But I think he'll eventually go out and he'll score one or two. The smile will come back on his face. And then he'll bang about 10 or 12. And I think that's the way. He's a confidence player. And he had a really, really difficult summer. And I think that's basically just the issue. Warren, Niall, I could write a thesis on the subject. Absolutely, we could, couldn't we? We could write a book, Warren. We really could. I'm looking forward to Keith. I'm looking forward to testing it out on the podcast tomorrow. It should be fine. And we're gonna have a full house tomorrow night, folks, as well. Pro Wrestling Weekly coming at you 8:00 tomorrow night. We got plenty to talk about from over the weekend, and I think we're gonna have I think there's going to be at least 8 guests on. We're going to have a full complement. Everyone is going to be on tomorrow night, plus more. So let's see what happens. Where is Mark tonight? Mark right now is currently getting his boiler fixed, I think. Either fixed or serviced. I'm not too sure. Really, really important, especially if you live in a house with kids. Keeping those kids warm and having a boiler and all that kind of stuff. Really, really important. So he reckons he'd be about a half an hour late. So he should be coming on pretty soon. We'll see how it goes. It's 15:15, so another 15 minutes hopefully be on, because I really wanted him to come on, especially for us using this new service and see how it all works out with the slides and stuff like that and also. But he should be along shortly. He says he is going to make it anyway, so hopefully they button up that boiler, everything is sorted, and it's all good. Just to let you know, we're just into the second half here. Still West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Number of changes made by Nuno there. Wan-Bissaka for Scarles, Juve is on for Walker Peters, and Mavropanos for Fernandez. So Nuno ringing the changes right on half time. Obviously, not very happy at all. Yeah, Phil, it is. It's so important, you know what I mean? And whatever about us as adults, we can handle it, we can handle it, but like when you have kids and all, it's really, really important, Get Del Boy over to Mark. Yeah, I think he has a guy there already. So I'm not too sure whether it was something that needed to be fixed or it was a service. He didn't say, he just said he'd be a little bit delayed. So that's all good, as you know. So yeah, so where do we want to go? Let me see now. Keith's in. What I think needs to happen for Wednesday is have Robbo play and get Frimpong playing on the right wing and drop Salah and play Hugo. He made a difference when he came on second half. Tell us this, Keith, and I want to ask you this question. It's really weird because a lot of people are saying, look at when Chiesa comes on and when Ekitike comes on and Verts when he comes on and stuff like that. The thing that people have to remember, and Frimpong as well, the thing that people have to remember, and I said it today on the reaction show, when those boys are coming on, Slot is emptying out the bag off the bench. Anyone with a forward play is getting thrown in up there. And we go from having 3 players up front to having 5 or 6 players up front. So when you're whipping balls into the box and there's 4 or 5 players in there, you're going to look a lot better than if you're whipping the ball in and there's 2 or 3 players in there. And when you're attacking like that and you're chasing the game to try and win it and stuff like that, that's when you're at your most vulnerable. And I think the issue we've had in some of these games is Slot has really gone for the wins. And we want to see that happen. But the difference between this year and last year is we were doing it in a much more controlled, measured kind of way. Now we're doing it like Braveheart, William Wallace running down the hill in that final battle. And everyone suddenly thinks they're a forward player. And that's a real problem. And I think that's what's causing us some of our problems. And I think that's the issue. The issue is there seems to have been a lack of patience, and it's like Slot feels the pressure of needing to get a win over the line. And by trying to do that and losing the balance, it's costing us points. So I don't know. I'm not too sure. I agree with what you're saying there. I think there does need to be changes. I would also worry as well I think what he's trying to do is he's very loyal to players as well. You can see it with McAllister and Sabozolo and stuff. Dom had a horrific game yesterday, one of his worst in the Liverpool jersey, I thought. But I think what he's trying to do is I think he's trying to play players into form, and he's trying to get players up to speed on the system and what they're doing and stuff like that and all. And I think that's causing a problem as well. Because what happens is you continually keep on picking these players and they're not performing and you're sitting players down, that becomes a real problem. The frustrating thing yesterday was, I mean, Kanate's had a very poor season so far by his standards, but yesterday he actually played pretty well. And that's the issue. I don't think he could do anything about the second goal because he went over him and there was 3 United players there ready to put that in. So I don't know. What else are we going to talk? I feel Kerkez and Bradley bomb it up together and it makes us open at the back. Yeah, and we've always had a situation, if you remember, with Robbo and with Trent, one always went and one held, or they switched, or one went and one held. Now at the moment they're both bombing forward, but I still maintain the issue is we bought 2 wing backs and we're playing them as 2 full backs. And I think if we want to play in this system, I think what happens is you've got Kerkez and Frimpong at the moment who need to be a bit more forward. And I don't mean forward as in their play. I mean forward in their positioning. And I think we need to play with 3 central defenders. And I think that would fix things a lot. I think it'd make us much more solid. I think the issue with Kerkez at the moment is he's trying to play too hard. I think he's trying to impress too hard at his new club. And I understand that he's a young kid. But I think what's happening as well is, and I think our captain needs to look at this as well, and I said it on the reaction show as well, I fucking hate when players start pointing at other players. I hate that on their team. That drives me insane. Insane. That goal with Bremo, I fucking nearly hit the roof when I seen him pointing at Konate where he should be and all, when he fucking lost the player. You know what I mean? Not playing to the whistle. Really frustrates me. But it seems like every time a ball comes in, or the same like every time a team attacks, you've got Van Dijk shaking his head at fucking Kerkez. He's having a fucking go off people and stuff like that. And he feels a little bit exposed, obviously, because he doesn't trust Kerkez. And he kind of doesn't trust Kanate at the moment. So Van Dijk is there and he's trying to do his own job. He's worried about what's happening on his left. He's worried about what happens on his right. And he's getting dragged all over the place. And I think that's a problem, because I think if you're playing, the one thing you would know about great defenses, if you look at great defenses down through the years, think about those great Arsenal defenses, Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Bold, Winterburn, Dixon, all these great defenses that were there, Sol Campbell and all. They trusted each other 100%. And because of that, they went to war for each other. And because of that, they knew each other's game so well, and they rarely left each other exposed. That's why Arsenal's foundation back then, those years ago and all, was built on those defences. We have a problem at the moment now where we have 2 new guys left and right who are kind of playing in positions that they're playing in a flat back 4 that doesn't really suit them. Because I said it in the summer, I was convinced we were buying Frimpong as a winger. That's what I actually thought we were doing. I thought he was going to be the backup for Salah. And I thought that we may need to go and get an actual right back. But what they're doing is they're using Frimpong nearly like a utility player. They're playing him at right back. But I don't think Frimpong's a right back. I don't think so. And that's just me thinking out of the box. You can let me know your thoughts on that. I really don't think he is. And you could see it yesterday when they brought him on in that right wing position and stuff like that. Hell of a lot more, much more, looked the part a lot better, I should say. But we shall see. It should also be remembered that defending a title is very difficult. It is extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult. I think the issue with Robbo, I think he's trying to manage him. I mean, obviously he's so important to us from experience point of view and everything else. But I think he's trying to manage him because I think the concern with Robbo last year is at times he ran out of gas. And at times he showed in matches that he just didn't have that 90 minutes in him last season and stuff like that. Now, I love Robbo. He's for me, he's everything I want in terms of passion, heart, desire, and play in a team and stuff like that. He can share house when he needs it. He can put it up to the best of them, and for me, he's a phenomenal player. But things happen, and that's just the way it is. Keith, I've noticed Virgil van Dijk is blaming others than himself. We can't disjoint team. If that happens, it will end up being toxic pretty quickly in the changing room. Yeah, and I think for Van Dijk, I think as a captain, I think Van Dijk is an unbelievable player. Let's be honest here. I mean, he's been one of the best central defenders in the world now for a long time, if not up there. And I think the problem is, I think what happens is they had an expectation coming into this year. One of the things I think Van Dijk and Salah wanted to see from the club is to show that desire in the market to go out and develop and get better and all that kind of stuff. And what happens is we forgot along the way that one, as a club, we're institutionalized pretty much in 4-3-3. So most of these players on the pitch have played 4-3-3 till the cows come home. And what's happened is now they're being asked to play a different system. Now they're being asked to play with new players. And we forget as well, not only new players, but young players, So where Kerkez has that feel for the Premier League, he's never felt the pressure of the Premier League in a Liverpool shirt where the expectation is whatever trophy you're competing for, there's an obligation to win it. That's not the same as playing for Bournemouth, and that's no disrespect to Bournemouth. I love Bournemouth as a club, fan base, everything else. Unbelievable what they do there. Love the manager, love the way they go about their business, but it's not the same. It's not the same pressure. And I think that's really the issue. I think players have come in and maybe in the beginning they're feeling a bit of pressure, the weight of the jersey, the weight of expectation. And again, also the microscopic way in which Liverpool is looked at. You get the same at Man United, you get the same at Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea. The big teams, they go in and they dissect everything right down to your fucking laces on your boots. And they've never had that spotlight on them. And I'm sure these boys, if they are tuning into social media, and I hope they're intelligent enough to fucking weed out the fucking absolute gutter trash that's been coming out from some people. But I think if they do go into social media, they'll understand. They know it's not good enough. We know it's not good enough, and we know that it needs to fix up. And eventually it will. There's no doubt. Warren, that Arsenal defence was a team in itself. Oh, Warren, it was just, they were just incredible. Like, you know what I mean? It was just, and people sometimes play down the whole Invincibles thing and stuff like that and all. That was an incredible achievement. You know what I mean? And I know people will say, oh, this, that, and the other, and the little gold trophy and all this kind of thing. It's incredible. Incredible. Don't care what anyone says. Keith, he needs to stop playing Szoboszlai at right back, but also as well, it's a pretty long season and the likes of Arsenal and City will have bad patches at some point. It's just on Liverpool to take max points when it does. Yeah, and like the thing that I said in the reaction show, like apart from all the doom and gloom and we lost to United and blah, 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 and we've lost 4 on the bounce and we haven't done that since the 30s or whatever it is and all this kind of thing. And there's a red mist and a cloud over Liverpool and Anfield at the moment and all. I think where the issue is I think context is key. We're 4 points off top. If we beat Brentford on Saturday night, it's the 8 o'clock kickoff, going to be a cracking match. I think what happens there is then we're only a point off top. And the issue going forward now will Arsenal have the mettle to lead from the front like we did at this early stage? Has the racehorse hit the front of the pack coming up Cheltenham Hill? And is it going to get to the finish line? It's a long season. It's a torturous season, especially if you're heavy in Europe and on the cups and stuff like that. No, and we'll have to see if Arsenal have it in them. And now they showed against Newcastle, they showed they could do it. Fulham, they seen it out. So there's no reason to question whether they can do it or not. And you can see that the Arsenal side is somewhat maturing in a way with a steely look as if it wants to push to get a title or a major trophy like a Champions League. And I think that's going to be tested. We've seen Man City just quietly going about their business, and all of a sudden they're right back in the mix. You know what I mean? And I did say at the start of the season, I said I would be more worried about Man City than I would be about Arsenal. Now, obviously, I'm worried about both, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But it's certainly going to be interesting. But I think I'm not as concerned about the 4-point gap as I am about the 9-point swing. And this is what I said on the reaction show as well. I said it's not the 4-point gap. It's the fact that we had a 5-point gap that's now a negative 4-point gap. So it's a 9-point swing. And that's where it gets concerning. So just need to fix up, go out and do the business against Brentford and against Frankfurt this week, and then we can get back at it. I remember when Tony Adams came into the team, hearing Viv Anderson and David O'Leary constantly talking to him and supporting him through games. They would be constantly screaming clean sheet at him. Yeah, absolutely. And this is what I say. This is where you truly see your captain. You know what I mean? This is where your captain. Can he take a player that's either struggling or a player that not necessarily maybe he's average or maybe he's filling in or whatever it is? This is where your captain needs to put an arm around that guy and say, come on. Van Dijk should be putting an arm around Kerkez and he should be saying, I need that bomb at Kerkez. That's what I need on the pitch tonight. I don't need this guy that's a loose cannon. I don't need that guy that's getting out of position and exposing us. I need that Kerkez, that bomb at Kerkez. And that's what good captains do. Good captains inspire the players around them. Many times did we see Liverpool win things. Many times did we see Liverpool, dig out results with Stevie G there, who could inspire players around them. And let's not get it twisted. Stevie G played in a lot of bang average Liverpool sides, and he made players around him look unbelievable. That's what we need. That's what we need from our captain. And not only our captain, our captains. We need that from Mo. We need that from Robbo. We need that from Dom. These are all international captains. The advantage Liverpool have over Arsenal is we have Premier League winners and we know how to do it. Yeah. And that does count. That does count for a lot, Keith, assuming you keep yourself in the mix and that doesn't expand. And that's the risk there, obviously. Let's check on our friends at West Ham at the London City Stadium. Still 1-0 by the looks of things, I think. Yeah, still 1-0 to Brentford. 65 minutes gone. No more changes so far as I can see. Keith Andrews sitting tight with what he has there. This would be a huge 3 points away from home as well, and it would compound the issues at West Ham. But let's see what happens. Right, let me bring in a slide here. We haven't had a slide yet. Let's bring in a slide and see how this goes. Just give me 1 second. We get a slide in here. What do we want? I did forget, by the way, actually. Let me see now. Sometimes these take a little time. Let's have a think about it. Yeah, there we go. Now I want this one, don't we? There we go. How does that look? There you go. Hogan Elite Trophy here. I forgot to bring it in at the start of the show, folks. Don't forget Mark's business here, Hogan Elite Trophy here, where he hires out beautiful trophies, the Premier League, Champions League, the FA Cup, to name but a few. And he hires them out for special events like charity events, evenings, birthdays, whatever it is and stuff like that. So if you do have a special event coming up, and I've seen these firsthand, they're amazing. And when they're there, the joy that it brings people and kids and all that kind of stuff is amazing and stuff like that as well. So if you could head over, Facebook and Instagram is the place. That's where you will get in contact with Mark. Let him know you're a subscriber to the Upper Tier podcast or that you're in the chat. He'll definitely recognize you from the shows and he will look after you in terms of hiring out the trophies and stuff like that. And also, while we're checking it out, Instagram, Facebook, Hogan Elite Trophy Hire. So yeah, check that out. So now I want to talk about. Let me see, what have we got? We want to talk about we should be coming up now, and we should want to talk about this. How are we feeling about Forest? Let me know your thoughts on this. I would be definitely more worried about City than Arsenal. Yeah, possibly. Bren's back in again as well. Happy 4th anniversary to Bren and Neve, by the way, folks. They celebrate their 4th anniversary today, so great stuff. Love to hear that. I've seen them live, truly amazing stuff. Yeah. Has he got a Premier League trophy? Premier League top 4 trophy. He does. It's the one that's over my shoulder that has a crack in the back handle that he gave me and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely a top 4 trophy. I don't see the football's become such a money game, hasn't it? It's become such a money game. And teams sometimes just forget what it is to win trophies as opposed to be satisfied and things. As I sometimes suggest on this show, just to let you know, folks, as well, Mavropanos has just picked up a yellow card on 67 minutes. If you're ever doing a bet, if you're ever having a flutter and you're doing a bet and you want to do like a carded player, Mavropanos for West Ham is an absolute banker week in, week out for a yellow card. He is a destroyer. And he's just so erratic. So, yeah, check that out. But Mavropanos just booked there. And listen, there's about, 23 minutes to go plus stoppages. Don't be surprised if that guy gets an early shower. Telling you now. Talk to me in the chat. What are you saying about this guy? Ange Postecoglou sent out the door after... I don't know, what was it, 8 games or whatever it was, sent out the door. What's your thoughts on this? The talk is Sean Dyche has had a verbal agreement. Looks like he's going to be the next manager in the door for Nottingham Forest. With Sean Dyche going in, I have to say he will stabilise the defence, but God help any player there, the likes of a Morgan Gibbs White or players like that who are free-flowing and who want to play football. Because you're about to find out what Dyche ball is all about. I seen Mark sent me a notification today. I think it was from Twitter or Instagram, whatever it was. In the time man just being there, he could fly to Melbourne and he could watch all the Nottingham Forest games he was in charge for. And he'd also have enough time to watch the 3 Crocodile Dundee movies. That's really sad, isn't it? That's really sad. What are we expecting to happen here? Is this Forest going down potentially? Like there's no new manager bounce off this. Forget about this. This is the drizzle shits, isn't it really? I don't think the Forest job is a poison chalice, Phil. I think there's a lot of really talented footballers there, but I think they played to the strengths under the Nuno system. And then they brought in Ange, and Ange plays a foreign system to the Nuno system. So it's just totally different, and he was never going to be given any time. The owner is an absolute tyrant, you know what I mean? Just sitting up there in the stands, looking down on you, giving you that absolute filthy look. What's going on here? Yeah. Giving them that filthy look and stuff like that. And it's just really strange what's happened there. I thought Forest last year, I thought they were exceptional. I thought the job they were doing was absolutely phenomenal. But somewhere along the line, the ownership has decided something different, and I think they're going to rue the sacking of Nuno. I think it was really, really poor, and I think they're going to pay for it. I think, and you have this guy. I mean, would we be surprised if Dyche got sacked by Christmas? No. This guy just doesn't care. You know what I mean? He's ruthless. He's the modern day Roman, isn't he? Except Roman was even more patient than this guy. You know. So I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. There's a lot of good players there to play with and all. Like a lot of let's be honest here. I'd have an Elliot Anderson all day. I'd have a Morgan Gibbs White all day. There's lots of players there. Murillo, Milinkovic at the back. You know, Chris Wood up front. There's a lot to like about that Forest team. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely crazy. What saddens me is that for many people, transfer deadline day is more important than FA Cup final. Yeah, love the FA Cup. Do you know what it is, Warren? They've taken the good out of the FA Cup, haven't they? Remember, you'd get up in the morning time for the FA Cup and you'd be cooking your breakfast and they'd be bringing you interviews from the team hotels and the two squads would be having their breakfast and all, and then they'd go out for their walk and, you know, they'd follow them. We'd get all the footage. And then remember, you'd get like the helicopter footage. They'd be following the coaches up to Wembley and all that kind of stuff and all. And the FA Cup truly became a whole day, a whole family experience. And that's regardless of whether your team was in it or not. If your team was in it, it was that ratcheted up by 100,000,000%. But like, it used to be brilliant. Remember those days? It could be a whole day thing. You'd have the breakfast thing, the lunch, you'd be hanging on to every word. The players would be walking around, there'd be interviews, there'd be chat, little snippets and bites and all. And it was cool. It was cool. And now it's just show up and it's kind of like another game. And it's really, really sad because I love the FA Cup. Love it. But yeah, good show. Keith, Big Ange isn't good enough to be a manager. Forrest wants really entertaining football. You won't get that under Sean. Yeah, I think they want. I think the fans deserve a brand of football. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be gun-ho entertaining or anything like that. I mean, they were really good last season. Really, really good. And they were so unfortunate. They dropped off just at that pivotal time. And I think that's what the disappointment was, because at one stage they looked nailed on for a Champions League spot. And then a number of results didn't go their way. And then there was a drop off. And then they just came out of it, you know, just at that last hurdle. But it was a phenomenal season what they achieved, you know. Warren, the owner's a head case. Yeah, he is. He is 100% a head case. Phil thinks a shock. Yeah, he's just crazy, isn't he? He's just madness, isn't it? I wouldn't be surprised to see Brendan rock up a Forest. I think that might be. We might have to wait for that till next season if Deutsch is going in, or depends what happens, you know. But I did say it on was a Thursday show. I think Brendan Rodgers would be a great fit for Forest. Whether he'd be able to operate under the guise of being under Marinakis, I'm not too sure. That's a real difficult one, you know what I mean? Like when I read that they were talking to Mancini, I was thinking, fucking hell, imagine Mancini under this lad. It would be insane. But Brendan, I mentioned Brendan on the show last Thursday. Is a great shout and stuff like that and all. But we shall see. Bring back Coca-Cola Cup. Bring back the Coca-Cola Cup. Yeah, I think the League Cup, the name on it is kind of, yeah. I tried to replicate it a few years ago on my channel. Yeah, it's tough, Warren, isn't it? It's tough. That's a long day as well. I'd say by the end of that day, you were proper wasted, I'd say, right? So are we all kind of in agreement on, are we all in agreement on this? I think it was a tough one for Ange. I think Ange probably had to go. But I can't see Forest fans getting behind Sean Dyche at all. I just can't see it. I think it's a crazy, crazy, crazy move. It's the weirdest pivot ever. Yeah, madness. But we shall see. Right, I want to bring in another slide here. We'll talk about the Premier League results, and then we'll talk about the League of Ireland. And I'm sure Phil will want to talk about that as well. So there we go. Right, Premier League. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 3. Chelsea beginning to pour now, aren't they? Let me know your thoughts on the results at the weekend, but Chelsea certainly beginning to pour. Newcastle disappointed in a result down at Brighton and stuff like that. Danny Welbeck continues to roll back the clock. But Newcastle would have been looking at this as a game to really get going and stuff like that. But Brighton always a tough place to go, and I think United have Brighton next. It's going to be interesting to see, can they build on the platform of 2 wins back to back now and go maybe for a third? We shall see. Phil is in. Talk of Ange going back to Celtic. Well, that's what I said on the show last week. I said Ange back to Celtic and Brendan to Forest. But for some reason, Deutsch is in there now, so we shall see. Burnley winning 2-0 at Leeds. Massive. We called it a 6-pointer last week, didn't we? Leeds really, really struggling. I think they have some big games coming up as well where they need to take points. But that's a huge win for Burnley. Massive 3 points there as well, and they're the games, those games down there in that bottom third of the division of the league is where it's going to decide your fate, really. It's not going to be the games against Man City. It's not going to be the games against Arsenal or Liverpool or any of these games. It's going to be the games against those guys, against the West Hams, against those teams down there. They're the Wolves. They're gonna be what decide your fate, really. But a big win. Palace with a 3-3 against Bournemouth. Absolutely mental game. This went back and forward. I'm sure at times Bournemouth, especially, I think, must have thought that they had won this, but Palace came back. I think it was a late penalty in the 96th, 97th minute. Jean-Philippe Mateta, I think, picking up a hat-trick on the day as well. He's an absolute colossus there for Palace, and when he's humming, it's incredible. But Bournemouth to be kicking themselves to let it slip like that as well, because for portions of this game, they were in control and stuff like that, and I think they had the lead. Did they take the lead on 3 separate occasions? I think they did, so they'll be kicking themselves. But again, 3-3 away at Palace at Sellers Park. Big game and a big point earned as well. Man City beating Everton 2-0. I didn't see this game, but I was listening to the commentary on it. Erling Haaland, we spoke about him on Thursday and stuff like that. He's just become that complete forward now, isn't he? Like, we look at him last season, and the talk last season was, well, if he's not scoring goals, what else does he bring to the team? And he's obviously been listening, because now his link-up play is tops. He's dropping deep to pick up the ball. He's bringing players onto the play. He's pivoting and turning and getting on the end of stuff. And he's just an absolute colossus. And he's a goal machine to go with it. And I think he's starting to develop in that vein like Harry Kane, where Harry Kane at Spurs, he was so much more than just a striker and so much more than just a goal scorer. He could link up the play beautifully and stuff like that and bring players in. That relationship he had there with Son at times was amazing. And I think you're going to see that from Haaland. I think he's on 11 or 12 goals at this stage this season, which is absolutely insane. Breaking every record and back to his absolute best. Scary. Sunderland Wolves, another big game as well. Sunderland getting back to winning ways. They would have been disappointed in the result and the performance against Man United prior to the break. They did try to get back into it. They did try to hustle in that game, but just couldn't do it. But this will feel like a big win. Wolves again, issues and problems all compounded again. Unlucky at times, but Sunderland, I just have to say, value for their 2-0, to be honest. And then the evening game was Fulham versus Arsenal at Craven Cottage. Generally a tough place to go, and generally has been a potentially slippy place for Arsenal to go and get a result, often resulted in a draw or a loss. But Arsenal winning 1-0. Big win for them. Fulham did apply the pressure, but Arsenal withstood that pressure, and they showed that they have a bit about them this season, that they're not going to just fold and stuff like that and all. And you could see at the end of the game what it meant to them as well, because that win meant that no matter what happened in the league, they were going to be staying top. And that's really, really, really important. Just to let you know, we've had 2 substitutions in the game. It's still 1-0 to Brentford there, 81 minutes gone. Janelt has come on for Damsgaard, and so Janelt has come on for Damsgaard. That's actually the one change, actually, I should say. Then we went to Sunday. Spurs 1, Aston Villa 2. Aston Villa again. This was a really, really good game, and we expected it as well. There was a lot of end-to-end and this and stuff. But Spurs again coming up short. The goal from Buendia is a goal fitting of winning any match. I have to say it was a beautiful finish, and the defender sliding in actually played the forward on. Other than that, the goal probably would have been ruled out because he would have been blocking the vision of the keeper and stuff like that. But a beautiful goal from Buendia, cut in from the right hand side, let it fly into the far corner, and it was a beautiful finish through a group of bodies as well in the box as well. Absolutely beautiful to pick it out. And then of course Liverpool 1, Man United 2. Man United breaking their duck at Anfield after 9-10 years, whatever it is, but also going back to back for the first time under Ruben Amorim. And the first time I think in nearly 2 years or whatever it was. So a big result for Man United, something to give them hope to build on and stuff like that. For us, it's back to the drawing board, heads scratched again, trying to figure out what went wrong and how do we get this team humming. We spoke about it at the start of the show. We don't have to elaborate. My reactions there, my previews there, it's all on the channel if you want to check it out. Let's take some comments. Phil's in. Bowes nil, Pats nil. Great result for Shells. Yeah, the race to Europe. Really important. I don't think Chelsea are all that great, to be honest. I don't know, Keith. You can see. You got to remember, context is key on this result. Remember, they were missing a bunch of players there as well and went to Forest. And I know Forest weren't exactly they weren't pulling up grass or anything like that, but you still have to go there and to put 3 past them and win. That's really important, and I wouldn't rule Chelsea out. I think Chelsea could be up there in the mix if they can get players back fit and all that kind of stuff. But when you've Enzo there and when you've Caicedo, listen, they were missing these players at the weekend. They're missing these key players at the weekend and still found a way to get it done. I'm worried Brendan is going to walk. He looked like a broken man after the game against Dundee. Yeah, it's tough, It's tough up there, Tough. I honestly think Sunderland will stay up there. 14 points already. You only need 30 or 35 to stay up there. Nearly there. I have a funny feeling with the exception of Burnley, Keith. I predicted, with the exception of Burnley, that it would be current teams that would go down, not promoted teams. I think Leeds might be able to find it because I think Leeds might go into the market in January, depending on what happens with the situation with Daniel Farke. And I think what happens is they didn't do enough in the summer. And I think they were maybe a bit nervous about how this whole thing with Daniel Farke was going to play out. Said it to Paul the other day. We were chatting in the car. He's a big Leeds fan. I'd love to see Keano and Duffer double act at Celtic. They'd probably kill each other. It'd probably be grand for a month. And then they'd be at each other's throats. Honestly, they're not. You know what I mean? I don't see Keano either. I don't see him. Like, he's such a great job at the moment. Don't see him doing it. Did you see Haaland will break Shearer's record, or do you see Haaland will break Shearer's record, or do you think like Madrid will swoop in for him in the near future? I don't know. They've put a lot on him, haven't they? They've put a huge price tag on him and stuff like that. And I think last time he signed, is it a 10-year contract or an 8-year contract he signed? So it's going to take colossal money to get him out of there as well. Now, players might change their mind, if Pep finishes up this year or he moves on and things, they bring in a manager and it's not quite suits and all that kind of thing. But Madrid are not about that at the moment. If you look at Madrid are about coming in and poaching players at the back end of their contract on free transfers or, with a year to go on the cheap and stuff like that and all, they're not really putting it out there the way you expect. They're signing good players, but they're not in that kind of Galactico mode. You know what I mean? So I think they have I think they've shifted policy a little bit. That would be my thinking anyway. So I don't know whether that would be the case, but certainly they'd love to have him. I was in. What's the story, Ian? Hope you were good, my friend. Hope it's all good. And Jack is in as well, the Red Rain. Folks, make sure you're subscribing to Jack's channel as well. He is 3 subs off 240. How about we get him 13 subs tonight and we bring him up to the 250? Let's get him up to the 250 before the stream ends, folks, if you can. Give him all the support you can out there. He's a good lad, Jack, and stuff like that. And he's constantly trying to do different things and get things going. 87 minutes gone, still 1-0 to Brentford. Let's see how this plays out. Surely Brentford would see this out. But that's it. That's your roundup on the Premier League. So let's see now. What do we want to do here? 1 second. I want to replace this out and I want to have a look at the Champions League because it's Champions League week and we love Champions League week. Well, normally we love Champions League week, but we have a tough trip to Frankfurt on Wednesday. So as well. So let's get into this Champions League and have a look. What do we like? Arsenal versus Atletico. Jack, I am well, mate. I'm very good at the moment. Yeah, sad news we got this morning though. I lost an uncle during last night. My uncle Paddy Kelly, he was an absolute legend in Movie Park and stuff like that. Very, very sad to hear of his passing and stuff like that. I think he was around 87, somewhere between 87 and 90. Hadn't seen him in a long, long time, but sadly passed away last night. So rest in peace, Paddy Kelly, a legend from Mulvey Park. Yeah, sad to see him go. My mother's brother. Yeah, and he's back up there now with my mum and with my uncle Joe as well. The two of them for years were plumbers. Sadly, Joe passed away on an accident on a site. Very, very sad. So, yeah, a number of years back and stuff like that. So, thoughts and prayers go out to everyone, of course, associated with it. And I got the sad news there this morning. Very, very sad. But there you go. Yeah, I'm all good. I think that's it. It's Red Rain. I think it is. It is Red Rain as far as I know, Warren. Yeah, it's Red Rain. As far as I know, or Jack can update us or drop it, what else do we like? Arsenal versus Atletico. That's going to be a nice one. I like that. Leverkusen versus PSG. Newcastle Benfica. PSV Napoli. What are we looking at here? What do we want to see? Liverpool, obviously. Liverpool. Chelsea Ajax. That'd be a Chelsea win, I'd imagine. Munich Bruges. Interesting. Liverpool away at Frankfurt is going to be a very, very difficult game. And also Tottenham away at Monaco. Real Madrid, Juve, rolling back the clock there, aren't we? Real Madrid, Juve. Two absolute powerhouses of yesteryear. Juve obviously with a certain drop-off in recent years and stuff like that. No, but what a team Juve was down through the years. Tainted a little bit by some of the information came out. And then the bottom game is Sporting versus Marseille. Marseille actually playing a very nice brand of football these days. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see how that goes. But obviously Liverpool, Frankfurt, Tottenham away at Monaco, Chelsea at home at Ajax, Man City away at Villarreal. And then, as we said, top billing up there, Arsenal at home taking on Atletico, which should be interesting because, that narrative does be there at times, when people have wanted Arteta to go, a lot of people have said, go get me Simeone. So let's see Arteta versus Simeone, how that goes. Newcastle up at St. James as well against Benfica. An absolute festival of football this week. You could not go wrong with it. There we go. It's Red Rain 97. There you go. I'm so sorry, Noel. Appreciate that, Warren. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good age, My poor mum passed away at the age of 65, so he got nearly 25 years on my mum, So, yeah, there you go. I'm so sorry to hear that, Noel, mate. Yeah, not a problem at all. Not a problem, lads. Really appreciate it and stuff like that. Sorry to hear about your uncle, Noel. Thoughts and prayers with him. Really appreciate it, Phil. Yeah, absolutely appreciate it. So, yeah, that's your kind of Champions League. I think there's some really good matches there for the Premier League sides coming up. So, should be interesting. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if your team is in there. What way do you see it going? Let me know what way. What's your predictions there? Can Liverpool get back to winning ways away at Frankfurt? Going to be a very tough trip. Going to have to be on it. There's no doubt about it. Right, let's round it out with the League of Ireland. Get Phil's thoughts and everyone in the chat and stuff on the League of Ireland, what's coming up and stuff like that. Dun, dun, dun. Where are we? League of Ireland. Right, there you go. What do we see now? What's our thoughts on this? Phil, how did you feel about the weekend? Again, Rovers not getting over the line. That's rough for them, is it? You lost your dad. Lost your dad when you were 41. Yeah. I lost my mum when I was 33, I think. I think I was 33 when I lost my mum. You know, it's rough. It's rough. I think I was 33. I think so. Very, very sad and always tough, and you never get over, especially that link between a son and their mum. We're into 3 minutes of stoppage time here at the London City Stadium. West Ham 0, Brentford 1. Still that goal from Thiago on 43. The difference between the sides. So we'll keep you posted on how that finishes out. How did we feel? The fella in the green and white shirt. Yeah, the fella in the green and white shirt. Phil, give us your thoughts on the weekend. Rovers struggling to get over the line. Pats, what a goal by Power. An absolute rocket of a finish. And I thought on the night as well, I thought Pats were full value for their win as well. I thought they were really, really good. They could have scored a few goals in the first half and stuff like that. Rovers seem to be coasting again. Few players coming back for them and stuff like that and all. I don't think it's in danger of the league or anything like that, but going up Rovers now away to Derry City, are we going to have a situation now where the league champions are crowned for the second year in a row at the Brandywell, which is a tough one for Derry to take, of course, because it's not them being crowned. So it's a rough one. And no one ever likes to crown the champions at their ground. It's always a horrible feeling. Are they because they have a one, Phil? I mean, that they're not going to get caught. Like the goal difference is 13. It's insane. So there's nothing going to happen there. Is it a case that they're coasting through this and they don't really care? They're just going to see it out. And that their focus is switching to Europe and obviously the FAI Cup. Let me know your thoughts on that. I always get concerned about things like that because I think if you drop your level, I think sometimes it's very hard to refine that form. And with big games coming up in Europe and also the FAI Cup on the horizon. Now, I think it'll be tough for Cork to beat Shamrock Rovers. But I think it's a one-off. It's a cup game. Anything can happen. And I think Cork, after that performance against Pats, will feel they don't have a whole lot to play for at all, but I think they'll feel that there might be something in it for them. They'll have a huge contingent coming up, massive ticket sales already for it and stuff like that and all. But it's very hard to put the finger on Rovers at the moment. And, you know, the game against Pats at the weekend on Friday night was very lackluster, I thought, until they kind of tried to turn up the cosh a little bit on it. I thought the game the week before against yourselves, I thought they were really, really struggled till you went down to 10 men. And then again, couldn't get the job done. So I don't know. It's a weird one, 2-0 to Brentford. Janelt has just scored. And our ex-captain, Jordan Henderson, with the assist. What a season Jordan Henderson is having at Brentford, by the way. The job he is doing there for Keith Andrews. And very clever of Keith Andrews as well to bring in that bit of experience to go in there with some of the players that he's put in there as well. Very clever. We had a lot of questions over Keith Andrews at the start of the season, and we felt that Brentford might be one of those teams to go down. How Keith Andrews has shown everyone up now and shown just how good he is as a coach. Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff, I have to say. Yeah, appreciate it, Jack. No problem at all. Where am I now? Where am I? Do you think Derry will pip Rovers? No, absolutely not, Warren. They can't. They can't because they'd have to turn over a 13 goal difference if you look at the table there. Even if they beat them at the weekend, to have any chance at all, they'd have to beat them about 10-0, and that's just not going to happen. Phil is in. I don't know what is going on with Rovers, but I still think they win the league. The league. There's no question about it. The question is whether they do it at the Brandywell or they do the following week or wherever it is. You know what I mean? There's no doubt they're winning it. I didn't think any. I didn't see any at the games. I was at the classic Sager gig in the Ambassador. Interesting, good gig. Not at all. Probably. And Warren again updating us 2-0 to Brentford. Yeah, and that's full time. That's a full time score there. 2-0 to Brentford. Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. And what are we looking at here now? We're looking at Brentford up to the dizzy heights of 13th on 10 points. And only potentially 4 points off a Champions League spot. Just putting it out there. Context is key. At this early stage in the league, with 8 games played and stuff like that, the points are quite condensed, and the swapping as matches go is absolutely huge. Derry picking up a big win against Waterford, obviously to keep things alive. Yeah, I must check them out, Phil. Absolutely. Galway, Bohemians. Losing 2-0 to Galway United. Draw the winning 1-0 against Cork, compounding things. I'm sure Cork are probably thinking FAI Cup at this stage, are already relegated. As we said, Shelbourne with a huge win against Sligo Rovers. 3-1, massive 3 points that was needed. And they will certainly feel much more confident now. And listening to Joey as well, Philip, these games are going to be so important. We needed to keep on putting wins. The win against Rovers was absolutely massive to get you back into that position, to have that platform to kick on for those European spots. But it's going to be very interesting because it's still very tight all the way down as far as Pats. And Pats again with that big win with Rovers as well. These are big wins in determining how these European places flesh out. But it's going to be really difficult. Shells now, after opening up a gap against Bohemians of 5 points there, so you would think Shells are just about not too far away at all. You know what I mean? And then it remains to be seen what flushes out of the rest of the games in terms of European spots and stuff like that. Phil, what way does it work, by the way, on this? Is it top 3 plus the winners of the FAI Cup? Or what way does it work in terms of European spots and qualifiers? And how does it flesh out in terms of Champions League, Europa and Europa League? Let me know, Phil, in the chat, because I'm not always too sure about it. I presume the FAI Cup gets a spot, does it? Or does it? Let me know. But it'd be interesting to see what way that works. But yeah, we're coming right into the business end now. Rovers just on the cusp of winning the league. FAI Cup coming up. And obviously their endeavours, they're guaranteed, I think, either another 4 or 5 games in Europe. So that's going to be huge. I think Shells need another 4 points to qualify for Europe, is it? That's what it is, another 4. So they'll need about 59, will they? Interesting. Well, what you want coming up this weekend, Phil, is you want Shells to go out and win, and you want Rovers to show up and beat Derry, and then you'll go above Derry by a point. That would be crucial, thinking about how far you were off if you go back 3 games ago. To put that run of games together is absolutely massive. So there you go. Right. If you have anything else you want to ask me, let me know. We're just at the end of the stream. Really appreciate you joining us as always. We will see you on the next stream. So don't forget that I am back tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll have the full panel on and everything else. We're going to be talking Raw. We're going to be talking Wrestle Dream. We're going to be talking Jericho. We're going to be talking tag teams. We're going to be talking loads of stuff, plenty to talk about, plus anything else you hit us with. But until next time, folks, stay safe. Keep on tuning in. We really do appreciate you every time coming on and stuff like that. There's Joanne. Joanne is in. Big up, Joanne. Hope you are good. Joanne predicted, I think, the Liverpool result. Phil, 100%. Ryan, how are you, pal? I hope you are good. Marky didn't make the show tonight. Obviously, still working on the boiler with whoever's there with him. Hope you're good, Ryan. Keep it going. Bren, great show. Niall, see you tomorrow. Absolutely. And Joanne, I'm going for a 2-1 win for Simeone and his lads. You're a huge Simeone fan, Joanne, aren't you? It's going to be very interesting. I mean, that's going to be a great game to watch just to see, Gage Arteta versus Simeone, how that's going to look and stuff like that and all, And I mean, don't forget, we beat these guys earlier. We beat these guys earlier in the season. So, we shall see what happens. Warren is going, "Hi, Joe. I hope you are well. Please give my best to Mark." There we go. Absolutely, I absolutely will. Listen, folks, stay safe. Hopefully catch you tomorrow night for the wrestling show. And again, Thursday, Tier Talk. I'm probably going to be on my own. Darren is away on his holidays, living it up in Dubai, having a great time there with the family. I hope he's absolutely having a stellar time. But I will be back on Thursday. We'll see. We might be able to get someone on. Maybe Mark might jump on Thursday because he didn't make tonight. We shall see. It'll go up over the next few days. So stay safe. Keep on sharing and liking and all that kind of stuff. Support all the channels there in the chat as well. Make sure you support Warren's channel and Jack's channel and any other channels that are in there. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers, folks.